All right. 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome to episode 310 of the KBMOD podcast. It is February 18th, 2018. And yeah, we're back with the normal crew again, 2 weeks in a row. Feels good. How have you gents? How have you gents been doing? Katie, I want you to go first because you look like you have something to share. What happened?
No, I don't. That was the expression of me knowing that something happened and unable to remember and just like deep focus trying to. Oh, I hope you pick someone else first. Doesn't come to me.
Oh, okay. Well, no, because you went to a party this weekend, didn't you?
Oh, that was it. Yeah, I did go to. We talked about it a bit ago. Like, I was invited to a party and I wasn't sure if like I should attend because it was originally hours away, and I was anticipating it being something where it was just like belligerence all around. Right. But thankfully it got moved to like literally a 5-minute walk away, and then I showed up and pretty much everyone's just playing video games. So I was
nice.
A welcome, welcome change. It was definitely up my alley.
Yeah, you were in my stream and you were saying like, hey, I don't know, like I don't want to not hang out with my friends, but I don't want to drive an hour to go to this party and then have it be, a party scene that I'm not going to be into. So that's good, man.
Yeah, I came to your lovely community for help, and they helped me very much. And you did too.
I mean, hey, dude, that's what we're there for. I mean, just much like the KBMOD community, there's many helpful people in my Twitch chat and other Twitch chats, and I'm glad it worked out. And you did the right thing. I think my advice to you at that point was, don't do anything you don't want to do, dude. Life's too short. Absolutely. And then look, you chose not to go, and then the party moved 5 minutes from your house, and then you went to the party, and they were playing video games. Katie, I'm not saying the Lord works in mysterious ways, but sometimes the Lord rewards your choices. So I'm glad. I'm happy for you.
Very mysterious.
So did you get any pussy?
I'm kidding. That's a great segue into.
Actually, you did get pussy because there was a video posted of a pussy on your lap.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there was. They have this cat. His name's Kimchi.
Yeah,
and he's very, very cute. But my friend Chris, who all of his cats are strays. He always finds strays and helps them and takes them in, and I'm like, oh, that's cute. But Kimchi is a dick.
Okay.
He's so cute, but he is a rampant biter. He's a rampant scratcher, and I feel like I need to wear rubber gloves when I play with him. Like, come on, buddy. I just want to pet you. I just want to love you.
Sometimes wearing rubber gloves around a pussy is actually medically
handling. Pussy.
Considered smart, depending on what kind of. I mean, a stray pussy like that, you never know what kind of disease you can find. So that's smart. I would say next time definitely.
I'll keep that in mind. Future endeavors.
All right. Well, I'm glad you had a good
in one pocket. You got the rubber gloves in the other.
Exactly. You're set to go.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, nothing really crazy. Today was pretty busy at work, but a lot of rampant children touching art they shouldn't be touching.
Okay, so what do you do? What do you do in that case? What's your line? I want to hear the Katie at work telling children that they need to back off the exhibits and stop touching stuff.
All right, you want to hear it?
I'm ready.
Stop. Don't touch that. Usually it works.
That was good. I mean,
there's some subtle masculinity there. Like you don't have many syllables to really discern your tone, but there's something there that you can just sense that you don't want to escalate.
Yeah.
No. I just want to get over with. Honest answer, everything I think about saying always comes out remarkably worse in person. I'll think about being someone. I was in this one gallery and we had a fountain in the gallery, and someone was sitting down on the fountain, and obviously can't do that. So I walked up and I was like, "Hey man, can you please not sit on that? Thanks." That's how it comes out in my head. I walk up I'm not sit on that. I'm like, fuck! Come on, David! Work it up! I'm smacking myself in the face, hyping myself up for this.
You're like, excuse me, but would you mind possibly moving from the fountain? He's like, what the fuck? You don't even work here. It's like, yes, I actually do.
Who are you? You are looking at the floor always. No.
Oh, that's funny.
And another thing too is just the little kids. I can't take it. In some galleries there are iPads set up. You can watch all this little videos about Georgia O'Keeffe, one of the best American artists. I don't know who she is, but we have like an iPad set up, and little kids, they see iPad and they jump to it. Little kids almost fought over that shit today. I'm like, why are kids so hyped up to watch Georgia O'Keeffe about her painting? And when you say, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think just kids are addicted to screens and iPads. So
yeah,
I think you're right. Yeah, just want to get their hands on it.
I never know how to handle little kids, because like one time there's a gallery where there's something set up where it's like it was the graffiti, like urban, like New York City graffiti gallery, and they had these like payphones that were rigged to like you pick it up, you listen to it, and like the artist is actually talking to you, like Dazed or like Lady Pink is talking to you. And this kid like took the phone, left it hanging. I walk over, I pick up the phone, I put it back on. The little kid's staring at me, and I don't know, I give him a smile or something. I'm like, what are we doing? And the little kid is like, he's like grabbing his mom and pointing at me. Like, he's gonna report me. You almost get arrested for interacting with children. Yeah, I was like, why the fuck did I even try, dude? Yeah. Amazing. I never want to deal with like that shit, man. And so like sometimes I'm like thinking like, man, what's the worst that could happen? Like I let my mind wander sometimes. Like what if this little kid no, come on, no, not like that. Like what if this little kid like what if this kid is like touching on a piece, he's put his hand all over, I walk over like, hey, you can't touch that. What if the kid just started beating the shit out of me? What if the kid just like started punching me, like kicking me in the nuts? Like I can't grab him because then his dad walks over like, get your hands off my boy. And then now he's kicking my ass.
Wow, you really go. I like that you have all these like.
Hey, there are some boring days.
No, I believe it.
Mine escalates to a queue of people lining up to kick your ass.
Yeah, like how is this gonna go wrong?
One after another. Man, this guy's attacking this kid's whole family. I gotta jump in there.
Oh, that's
Charles, owner of the museum, is taking his shirt off, charging in there.
I can't see you giving just like this, trying to just give a smile to like to make the situation okay. The kid's just looking terrified. I just
smiled and smiling. Yeah, exactly. That's literally it.
Oh god.
If I was in their position, I would be like, son, get away from that strange man with the anime shirt on. You gotta get far away.
Oh, that's great.
I was wearing an anime shirt, but yeah, I mean, like I think I tried to give him like an encouraging, hey, put the phone back on the booth. That's the right thing to do. But no, it came out completely the wrong way. So yeah.
Well, glad to. Hey, dude, you're in a newer gig. You're figuring out as you go. You know, there's gonna be growing pains.
Mm-hmm.
It's all good.
It's true.
I'm sure you're gonna eventually develop the perfect tone with different tones for different clientele. You know what I mean? Some people need a more firm kind of, urging to stop what they're doing, and some people need a little bit more of the tender gloves. So,
yeah,
that's good.
Some people, the hearty smile just doesn't work.
It doesn't work with them. Well, now you know. Now you know for next time that creepily smiling at a little kid is probably not the best idea.
Yeah, not the best option. Right. I'll keep that in mind.
All right. Anybody else? What's been happening with you guys this week? Ying, Brandon, anything exciting? Anything of note?
No,
I know we're kind of, we're kind of back into like normal.
Katie smiling at children, but
yeah, we're kind of. It's like we're almost the end of February, back into March. We're like, there's not really. I guess President's Day is tomorrow, but we're and for you, Family Day.
That's right.
We had Valentine's Day this past week. Anyone do anything special?
That's true.
For your special partner.
Oh, actually, sorry, I do have. It's sort of Valentine's Day story. So, as it turns out, at least I'm assuming this is relatively common, but I worked the evening of Valentine's Day, which means I got to see all of the incredible Tinder dates that came through the museum.
That is amazing.
I mean, there was like very distinct. You could very distinctly tell who was there with a significant other that had been together for, I'm going to say, at least 6 months, and the people who like met up at the museum and were like trying to get to know each other as they went through the exhibitions. Oh,
that's
I mean, this isn't anything new, but I've said this before, and I can't deal with cringe.
Cringe, yeah, you can't handle
definitely not.
it.
And it's that entire evening was just dudes trying to not have awkward small talk. But it always is, right? Like, there's no question you can ask when you both know that you're on a date, and you have to ask things like, so, what do you want to do after school? Like literally all of that. Like, what are you going to school for?
Right. All the culinary questions.
So where's home? And like all of like the really like the stock standard questions. And it's incredible how many times you hear the same questions. But
yeah.
That was a good evening. Now that I think back onto it overall, because I get to look at all these awkward dates and being like, I don't have to do that.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not doing that right now. Nice.
Yeah.
Good. Man, museum during Valentine's Day. I mean, did you see any Grindr dates, or was it mostly Tinder dates?
Well, now see, maybe I'm just not experienced enough in that field. I don't know what to look for to distinguish Tinder versus Grindr dates.
Well, if it's a Grindr date, 2 dudes would be butt fucking in front of an exhibition. So you'd know, like know pretty quickly.
That's true. All right, so we did not have any have any butt fucking incidents.
Yeah, because Grindr, from what I understand, is mostly just a hookup app for fucking. So for gay guys, whereas I mean Tinder, I think it could be a date between, of course, 2 gay guys, but they would probably be having an awkward conversation too. So I think it takes a little bit slower.
I mean, KD has to ask people to nicely put the phone back. I would guess if you had Grindr dates there, you might have a slightly different security situation.
Exactly. Katie, you do not want to smile at those folks. You might get involved.
Yeah.
Katie has to go over and break up a night hawking sesh from a Grindr date.
Get off of him.
All right. Then he awkwardly smiles. The next thing you know, he's the third wheel. What's happening? Oh no.
Excuse me, sir. Can you not sit on that?
Oh my god!
Oh gosh!
Amazing. Oh, jeez. All right, Brandon. What about you? What did you do for Valentine's Day? I think you took your wife out or did something special. I saw the tweet. Looked like you did something.
Yeah, we didn't do anything on Valentine's Day, but on the day afterward, which this is like a pro tip. If you're in a relationship for a while, I mean, some people get really into Valentine's Day, and like that's fine. If you're both into it, then great. Try to deal with the fact that you can't get a reservation at any restaurant because they only take walk-ins on Valentine's Day. If you want to deal with that hell, like by all means, go for it. And I get that some people are into it, but luckily, my wife and I, it's not like a huge deal to do something on the day itself. So so instead, after the day afterward, we just went out for coffee, like in the middle of the day. And the nice thing about San Francisco is, it's just like it's a nice scenic city to walk around in. So we walked around for a bit, and then went to this place that has really good chocolate. So I'd never been there, but I was looking and actually like found this company online that everyone says has really good chocolate. And I was like, oh, that'd be nice for her. And I looked, and they're physically located right in downtown San Francisco. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. I'll just take her over there. Well, we can get some chocolate and then hang out for a little bit. So that's what we did. And that was super nice. And the chocolate was really good. So it's now maybe going to be kind of one of my go-tos for if I need a present for my mom or something. Just like get a little bit of chocolate. It was definitely better than Godiva. I would say probably a lot better than the standard what's like the standard sampler box that people get. I think Katie, you had one. I saw you, or someone had one. Someone had a picture of one. But the ones you can get, just the Valentine's Day chocolate sampler box.
Like the little gold box?
Yeah, like the
standard.
Yeah. It's like the 3 different kinds of chocolate. Yeah.
I forget the brand.
Those are
it's like Russell Stover or something.
Yeah.
Those are. I mean, those are fine. But like the thing is, it's usually a lot of chocolate, but it's not like great chocolate. This one was a little more expensive, but you could just get like a box of 9 pieces of chocolate. I was like, instead of getting someone a box of like 32 pieces of chocolate, which is actually an incredible amount of chocolate to try and eat.
Yeah.
For one person, I was like, I can just get someone a smaller box of chocolate, and it'll be a lot better, and they'll enjoy it more. So
Yeah,
True.
that's
yeah.
what we did.
nice.
So it was nice, not super expensive, just like coffee and a chocolate date. You know, you don't have
That's
to.
good though. But I totally echo what you said about. I mean, you've been in a relationship longer than me, but yeah, once you've done a few Valentines, it's like, dude, it's just the little stuff. It's spending time. You know, you don't have to do anything crazy. You just make yourself, spend some time with each other. Like for Valentine's Day, for me, similar thing. We just I didn't stream that day. We just spent a lot of time together. We went to like lunch at like a good barbecue place that we like, and that was it. You know what I mean? Flowers, but nothing crazy. We weren't out there, getting the filet mignon at the top of some tower in Philadelphia or whatever. Not that, I mean, like you said, there's a time and place for that, and if that's what your thing is, that's great. But
yeah, I mostly just even if you're super into Valentine's Day, it is such a pain to try and do anything on Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
because every restaurant is packed to the gills. Like even if you're gonna go out for a super nice dinner, just like do it on the 15th or the 16th. Like just tell them we're gonna do it on the day that we can get a reservation. It's just crazy to me that like everyone goes out on the one day. Because I just can't. I don't know. Maybe that just says something about me. I don't want to go and guess if I'm going to get food because we have to wait for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
That to me is the antithesis of a romantic evening.
Right.
Great. I'm with you. Well, that's good. Katie, did you? We found out what everyone else did. Katie, what did you do for Valentine's? You just chill?
I just I just chilled. Yeah.
Gotcha. That's good. That's good, man. Okay. All right. So we've talked about what we've been doing. So let's get to the food. You talked about, so you had some nice hot chocolate, you got some nice chocolates.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else see anything of note this week? Anything exciting? Katie, okay, yes, Katie, you did. I got really triggered because we were playing, we're shotcasting CSGO together on Saturdays. We do. And, Katie was like, yeah, man, hold on. I just got a text. I'll tell you all the things that triggered me in order. So Katie, it was dinner time. I hear his phone go off twice. And Katie had received 2 different forms of communication that dinner downstairs was ready for him. And I was like, dude, what the hell? Do you live in a bed and breakfast? Like, look at this service. So like they were making sure, his parents were making sure, I don't know if it was your mom or your dad texting you, that like it's time to come downstairs and get dinner. And then you can keep doing what you're doing. Like amazing service. Then he comes back with 4 of some of the best looking homemade sliders I have ever seen. I mean, these things look like homemade White Castle burgers. I mean, there's a picture of them. I think I retweeted it. You took a nice shot.
I didn't know what those were at first. I didn't realize at first that those were homemade.
Yeah, homemade. I mean, they were beautiful. And I just said, I think my quote for the tweet. What did I say? Oh, I said Katie is so. I said Katie is so spoiled. He basically lives at an insane bed and breakfast where his parentals do the cooking. I'm jealous because I really am. I mean, dude, I'm impressed.
I mean, I'm a very blessed boy.
And the thing though is that that you're blessed, so I can't get too mad at you. It's like you don't take it for granted. So
yeah, I never take it for granted. I never try to brag about it. I mean, I'm very, very thankful.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
That being said,
but how were the sliders?
Delicious. Those were great. They're really good. And I said it to you, but they had an ingredient in them that was like it was peanut butter in them.
Peanut butter, which in the meat.
Yeah.
Really
worked really well. Yeah, delicious. That's a go-to. And then tonight we had like fried battered chicken strips, and my mom actually yesterday she made this like I feel like a dick talking about it.
Go ahead. You just had fresh fried chicken strips. What else did you have yesterday? Go ahead.
And she actually made from scratch a chocolate cheesecake, which is one of the best dessert dishes I've ever had in my life, to be honest.
Yeah, just another normal night.
Nothing different.
Let's see, homemade restaurant quality sliders, fresh hand battered chicken fingers, and then just a little cheesecake to wash it all down with, homemade.
I was actually in my bed watching Hen Time. My mom brought it in, and I said, "Here you go, sir." I said, "Thanks, babe," and that's how it goes here. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, hey man, you're hashtag blessed, Katie. So I'm happy for you. I'm not. It just makes me wish, because my mom's a great cook too. I don't know. She wouldn't, depending on the week. I mean, my mom, when I was younger was making meals like that. If I was older and still living at home, I don't think she would be cooking like that. But it does make me just wish I could just move home to get that. I'm just, I
feel that.
It's all right. Just enjoy it while you all I can say for until you move out, just enjoy it while you have it. And I know you're enjoying it, so I don't feel like I have to constantly preach that. Because once you don't have it anymore, if you ever move farther away or it's just not as frequent, you're gonna be like, man, I had it, dude. I had the life.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I'll move out and probably visit, every night, just around 7 p.m.
I was just gonna say you can
my
do that
portion.
too if you don't move that far. So.
Well, you can just,
we all know that
you can just have them make little to-go boxes for you.
Oh, that's right. Put little notes inside.
Your text like, I'll be there at 5. Can I get my to-go box?
I'd like to place an order for takeout. Hey, Mom.
Oh my God.
Your mom's got like an iPhone. It's literally just for you though. She literally bought like an actual like food service like app thing that like it just brings when your orders come in and it prints out a ticket. And she's like, oh God, what does my son Katie want tonight? David, David, he wants filet mignon. Oh, I've only got 5 minutes. What can I whip together?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't take anything for granted. I'm very thankful. And they love cooking as much as I love eating, so
that's
it all works out.
Yeah, good combo. Yeah. Anybody else see anything exciting? Anything solid?
Right before the cast, I had some delicious pad thai.
Oh yes, I heard that.
We have a great Thai place around here.
Nice.
So yeah, I scarfed it down. But pad thai is one of those things that I can basically eat until I'm sick. I don't know what it is, but I don't know what it is, but I can just, normally you kind of slow down eating when you're full. Pad thai, it's like if it's still in front of me, I'll just keep eating it. So luckily it was, it was a specific size portion. I asked Hillary to get 2, but she forgot 1. So probably for the best, to be honest.
Yeah. Nice. Good. I did not anything too crazy, but we had recently gotten like a crock pot that's also like one of those pressure cookers where you can cook meat in like a quarter of the time or whatever. Instant pot, yes, got one of those. So
I'm pretty sure everyone knows what that is by
now. Yeah, probably. I'm just way behind the times. I'm like, I've got an instant pot, but I wanted to make some pulled pork because I don't know, it's just always a good thing to have. You can have leftovers and have it for a while. So I got a nice pork shoulder, got a good like barbecue rub. And put that thing in there for. I didn't do a pressure. I did it for like a 6-hour kind of slow cook, and oh man, just a little apple cider vinegar at the bottom, a little bit of water, let that go for 6 hours. It was awesome. Just shred that thing up, put it back in its juices, and had them on some. Actually, it was the first time ever having those like those Hawaiian. Why can't I think of what those rolls are called? Those little Hawaiian rolls. They're like come in the square package.
They're called
Hawaiian rolls.
King's Hawaiian, or what am I thinking of? I literally blanked, but anyway, they were really good.
Hawaiian rolls. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Anyway, yeah, there's I think the word King or something. King Hawaiian, yeah, that's right. But and had them on those, man. It was so good. I still got leftovers, so I'll be eating that for lunch and dinner for a while. But came out good. I'm trying to. I want to do some more stuff.
That's a very dad meal.
That is. I was talking to my parents about that today. They're like, "Oh, really? Yeah, using the Instant Pot, the crock pot. Yeah, look at you." I was like, yeah, this is my first time really using one. I haven't ever. So it was good. Came out good. Good for the first time. So
nice.
I'll try to do more stuff in that. Yeah, other than that, not anything too special. Did you go out and try the fries yet from Taco Bell, Katie? Or no?
No, I haven't gotten a chance to.
Okay.
So I actually this past weekend went to Taco Bell. Hillary wanted to go to Taco Bell. It was like her wanting to go. So I was like,
her call. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, all right, fine. I'm along for the ride. Yeah, I'll go too. And I thought I saw it, advertised. I saw the fries, and I thought about it. I was like, I'm supposed to try these.
Right.
But I didn't.
Oh,
I chose against it. I chose against it because I didn't like. I was like, what am I going to get out of it aside from knowing what they taste like? I don't actually want fries. I want Taco Bell.
You weren't even in the mood.
Yeah, I wasn't even in the mood for fries. So, but I did. It crossed my mind, but I chose instead to get food at Taco Bell that I already know is delicious. So I didn't want to gamble on
Nice.
deliciousness at Taco Bell.
That's fair. I mean, the thing is with the fries, though, they're literally $1. So literally, if you get it and don't like it, you know, I mean,
guess
you're not.
true.
It's not a
That's
high
true.
price item.
I should have. I
You
mean,
could just be
yeah,
like,
you're right.
yeah.
I should have probably just gotten them so that I know what they taste like, because everything at Taco Bell is cheap. But
Exactly.
But I
But,
did. I wanted the cast to know that I was thinking about it.
That you wanted to get my hopes up and then dash them on the rocks.
Yeah.
I thought about it.
But I did.
At least you
mean,
thought about it.
my Taco Bell meal was great, so I don't regret any of my choices.
Don't regret your choices. That's good.
Good.
All right. Well, let's move on from what we've been eating and what we've been doing to what we've been playing. Let's start with you, Ying. What have you been playing this week?
So aside from Counter-Strike, which I always put a bit of time into every week, I recently, I was just streaming earlier today, Subnautica, which I did not go into with a whole lot of knowledge about what the game was. All I know is that it's heavy exploration-based, set underwater, and visually it received a lot of praise. And I love it. I think it's a great game. I don't have a lot of time in it so far, but the game visually is executed so well. It runs great, actually. I can't stream it at very high settings, but that's more on the streaming side of things. If I'm just playing it for myself, I can play it on the high settings, no issues. It's more of like I didn't realize there was such a big survival component to it. I didn't think there'd be as much narrative to it. There's actually like all these events that going on. Like basically the set of the game is that you've crashed on this alien world and you have to survive until you are rescued somehow. And so the way that they have you interact with this little dinky life pod that you start off on, you can see like the ship that you crashed on in the distance, and there's all these things that happen and it ends up changing the world and all these set events that are progressing the story. It's kind of like a really cool dynamic, and I'm excited to play more of. So I'm probably going to be playing that off stream and crank up the settings because I want to see. I don't want to do myself a disservice by running it anything less than high or ultra settings. And other than that, I did also try to play, and I say try because I had the timing on this a little bit wrong.
Yeah.
I tried to play Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, which was highly endorsed by our own Katie Zen as being a great game.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so far, what I've played, I've really enjoyed. I can't run it on too high settings. I'm having some technical issues with it, but regardless, why I say tried is because it was like 2 or 3 a.m. and I tried to play that game, and I forgot that they do so much with the audio to sort of replicate the sensation of schizophrenia. All these voices that kind of mess with your head, and these whispers coming in from the left and the right that rotate around you, and I had gone into this completely forgetting that they did that. And I don't think a game has made me more uncomfortable as I am sitting here in the dark at 3 a.m. with these voices swirling at me. I was so uncomfortable, and I was like, it's too bad because I'm enjoying the game a lot, but I am so uncomfortable right now that I'm gonna have to leave this. I'm gonna have to like try again when it's like middle of the day. I'm gonna pull up I'm gonna Google image golden retriever puppies and just keep up the Google image results on the other monitor, and I don't think it's like as bad as I'm making it out to be, but the fact that I had forgotten about it and it was so late at night that to suddenly have all these voices sound like they're in my home was really upsetting. So gonna try to give that another shot later when I'm not gonna freak myself out. But that's more or less been it. I've been doing I've been playing a little bit more of Dark Souls 3. Just I think that's just me catching up on the game more than anything. I'm still enjoying exploring areas that I missed the first time and trying to learn different weapons and so on and so forth. Still have yet to play the DLC. But that's more or less it. Subnautica, great game. Looking forward to playing it more. Hellblade, looking forward to playing it actually at all. And that's about it. Nice. A little bit of Battalion. I've kind of fallen off Battalion a little bit, just haven't had the time for it.
Right. Yeah, a little bit on Hellblade. I absolutely felt that. It's one of the most, it's so thoroughly frustrating, and it's so, it gets you angry that it's happening to you. And so many times I've wanted to go into the options and just turn that off, but I had to remind myself, this is the point of the game. This is why it's innovative, because no other game is doing this. But I absolutely felt the same way. I was getting so mad. Please shut the fuck up, everybody. Like, oh my
because
god.
yeah, like from when I played, the voices like have a comment on basically everything you're doing.
Yeah.
And it creates such a weird atmosphere where it's just like, dude, I'm just trying to play a video game, and the voice is like, why is she doing that? Oh, she's not going to make that. No, what is she doing?
Exactly.
Turn back. And it's just like, I just let me do what I want to do, man.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But I can definitely appreciate it for what it does.
It's such a cool idea. Like, I'm looking forward to actually playing it more and seeing what else they do with the audio.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Nice.
Cool.
Good stuff. All right. What about you, Brandon? Have you played this week?
I actually made a little notepad document here because I've played a few different things. So first up, I played Rocksmith. I've been playing that a fair bit. Still awesome. I've been having a real blast with that. I played. Let's see. I played a little bit of PUBG. John and I played. I posted a video on Twitter, which is like one of the funniest things that's happened to me in PUBG in a long time. I'll post it in the chat. But it was just we did not have a good PUBG outing this week. We had some technical issues. I actually got the first crash I've had in a long time. And so anyway, it just wasn't a great night of PUBG. But that moment, I was so glad I had the GeForce Experience thing running that catches the moments, because we were laughing so hard when this happened. Basically, for people that obviously this is an audio, if you're listening to audio version, we crashed. Our motorcycle flipped over, and then it went way in front of us, but it didn't kill us.
Oh my god.
And so I go and flip the bike over, and the bike flips and kills me.
Oh my god!
What? It was incredible.
That bike. Wow.
It's just one of those just PUBG moments, that you saw a lot of those in the early days, but you see fewer of them now. But it's just funny. There's still some funny, janky moments in that game that make it a lot of fun. Or frustrating, but in that case, it was fun. I didn't have any audio on that clip, but I was dying laughing. Then I played earlier today. I wanted to finish Wolfenstein 2. I hadn't gotten around back to it, so I discovered when I played it today, for some reason I was getting some crazy crashes, just trying to load the game. It was I hadn't had any crashing problems when I was first playing it. But for some reason, a lot, half the time I would try and just load into the game, it would just not load in, and I had to hard quit out of it. So that was frustrating. But anyway, I was playing toward the end. I guess I didn't realize I was basically at the end of the game when I stopped playing. So I don't want to spoil anything, but I literally played for about 15 minutes and got to the end, the ending stuff. So I feel kind of dumb that I stopped where I did, because I was literally about 10 or 15 minutes away from finishing the game.
It's a bummer.
So I had that tension hanging over my head that I could have relieved very easily had I just played a little bit more. But that was really cool. There's an ending sequence that is, I think, pretty awesome, and just obviously fits in with the general theme of the game. So that was cool. I tried very briefly to log into GTA Online, because I saw that you get a bunch of free cash for some reason right now if you just log into the game. And I was like, I had closed Wolfenstein. This was earlier today. And I was like, sure, I'll open up GTA. I'll log in and just get my cash, get my free cash in case I ever want to play this again. It took, no joke, this is not new, but it literally takes, and I mean literally, more than 5 minutes to log into GTA Online. The game sits there and loads for 5 minutes, and I thought it had crashed. And actually, the first time it just didn't seem to be loading. I left it on for more than 5 minutes and it didn't load in. So I hard quit out, opened up the game again, and I just tabbed out and let it go. And when I tab out, I can still hear the audio. I hear the audio. It literally was more than 5 minutes. It was just sitting doing the loading screen. I don't know how anyone plays GTA Online, because you basically open the game and like go bake yourself some food or something.
Do something.
Yeah.
I have no idea how it can take so long to log into that game, but it does.
Gotcha.
So I didn't do much in it. I just literally, I thought that was a funny. I thought it was funny that, you know, in 2018 GTA Online still takes more than 5 minutes to load in.
Damn.
Gotcha. And then saving maybe the best for last, or the newest for last. I finally tried Fortnite after
Cool.
successfully staying away from that for a while, because I couldn't log into my Epic Games account. I finally just made a new account because I was frustrated, and I played Fortnite. And I think it's a really fun game. There's some aspects that are so clearly stolen from PUBG that part of me understands a little bit why they were upset now, because some of the things, the map and everything, it looks so different from PUBG, but some of the things you will encounter on the map, you're like, oh, I feel like I've seen these 3 shaped warehouses right next to each other before. Oh, that's because that's literally straight out of PUBG. So it's like, it's not, the aesthetic is obviously very different, the game looks very different, but then you'll just encounter these little things where you're like, wait a minute, I've seen this before. And but the game runs beautifully, no frame rate issues. I mean, like, I think that's, again, we've talked about this, but I think that's part of the reason for the game's growth, is just the game runs beautifully. It didn't crash at all on me when I was playing. And so I'm not good at it. Obviously, the building, I think getting good at the building is, you know, takes a little bit of practice. But definitely it's I think I don't know what I can say about it, except that I understand why it seems to be blowing up, because it's sort of a PUBG type experience for Battle Royale, but it's so much quicker. Getting into it, like when you die, getting into the game is a lot quicker. Even, you know, when you die, it's quicker to queue up. You know, obviously there's no blood or anything, so I can see how it would appeal a lot more than PUBG to a younger audience, not only because of the lack of blood and like actual real guns and stuff, it's kind of more cartoony, but just the pace of the game. The pace of the game, I feel like, probably works a lot better for kind of a younger kid with a quick, or with like a worse attention span, because you can always be running around, and the whole map is destructible. So it's like, I feel like there's always something to do for a younger kid that may not have the patience to play a game of PUBG where you might just be sitting in a house doing nothing for a few minutes. So I don't know. It's like, it kind of just seems like the play style leans toward that younger audience mindset. But I was just
gonna say, when you're talking about the younger audience, Cowabunga actually just said in chat, my 12-year-old cousin queues up with his classmates and plays it on PS4. They have stumbled upon, so the cartoony aspect, the environments being destructible, like you said, all that stuff, they have really grabbed that kind of a little bit older, like moving on from Minecraft and stuff, like that age demographic crowd, and that crowd is so money, dude. Like once you grab that, like, and I saw multiple people even in my chat saying like, dude, like, this is becoming, again, to say that it's Minecraft levels is a little crazy, but like, from people that have like younger or like nephews or kids around that age, that like, this is kind of the hot thing that's happening right now, which is pretty crazy. And like, if you're Fortnite, that's just an amazing market to have, on top of the people that are already going to play it because they like Battle Royale, right, on the PC side. But like, tap into the console market and that age demographic, I mean, they're going to be set for a long time.
And I think I was just impressed at the game, the way the game feels for being kind of early access. You know, PUBG is an older game; it came out earlier. Fortnite, presumably, I mean, so Fortnite itself has been in development for a long time, but Fortnite Battle Royale, you know, is pretty new, and you have to guess, as an idea, probably didn't even exist before PUBG. So for how quickly that game has come together, it is very impressive. Just the gameplay, everything. Like, it is an impressive game for what I'm sure was just like a pivot toward a genre that became popular. And some of the things, like I said, are, you know, a little bit cheeky in terms of there's not necessarily a ton of creativity on some of the things. I mean, like there's literally an area that's a bunch of crates, right?
Yeah.
And PUBG also has an area that is a bunch of crates. You know, there are some things that I think are a little bit shameless, but you can't really like protect that stuff. You know, games are going to copy gameplay elements all the time, and they've done a good enough job of copying some smart things. But the game feels so different because it's, you know, the shooting mechanics work much differently. You know, there's really no aim down sights. So I haven't won a game yet, but you know, we placed like top 5 or 6 a couple times. And I think the building aspect, it seems like the building aspect ends up being a pretty important part of the game. Like you can't not do it. Because if you don't build, you end up looting a lot slower. You end up getting around places a lot slower. So that's kind of where I felt like I was held back because I didn't really know when I should and shouldn't build. And just like building stairs to a place that has loot, like everything, the building I think plays into the efficiency of the game so much. And so I could see where there's like a pretty high skill ceiling there for someone who wants to get good at shooting and building. So yeah, really, really fun. I'm sure, you know, if you've already played Fortnite, you probably know a lot of this, but I finally dipped my toe in. I don't know how much I'll play of it, but I do think it's a really well-made game. That I can definitely see why people like it.
Nice. Yeah. Good. Well, there you go. Brandon pops his Fortnite cherry and liked it. I love it. Good to hear. Yeah, as far as for me, what I've been playing this week, nothing really too new. Mostly more Battalion 1944. Disappointed. They were supposed to. We were talking about this a bit on my stream, but they launched. So they tried to launch competitive matchmaking built into the game, and that has not gone well at all. As you can expect, when you have a lot more people buying the game and trying to play at the same time than they had initially anticipated. And I understand what they're trying to do. I just think that it was a little bit early, and I fear slightly that some of the audience that they would have been able to pick up because of the server issues that have happened over and over again with just servers disconnecting, having all kinds of stuff, they're going to lose some interest in that game. Whereas I think if they had rolled stuff out a little bit slower, just kind of said, all right, we're not going to worry about matchmaking at the moment. We're going to do a more older school kind of server stuff, which they could have done because this is a shooter straight out of the early 2000s on purpose. And so the good side of it is that they already have a built-in hardcore fan base of people and that older school competitive shooter crowd that are going to play it no matter what. And so like somebody like me, I literally have a private server. So the server issues aren't that big of a deal because I literally will just do 10 mans with people from my chat, and it's great. I mean, the gameplay is good and all that kind of stuff, but the actual experience for people that maybe are kind of playing it more casually, you know, they're picking up a $13, $14 game and just want to play it. You know, it's not a good experience if you don't have those kind of channels to play 10 mans and just play on somebody else's server. So hopefully they'll be able to figure it out sooner rather than later. You know, they sold a lot of copies. It's still in early access. I don't think by any means it's like time to panic, but I do think with a game like this, you only have so many tries for the casual audience before they're just like, I'm done paying attention to this. Like, this is the third weekend in a row I've tried to play on servers and like I can't. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And that kind of is a bummer because I think the core game is really good. And, you know, I think in the long run they'll be fine because, like I said, there's a good base of Call of Duty, you know, whatever other shooter veterans that like a stripped down experience that Battalion offers. So there will always be some people, but I do think it could hamper the growth in the long run. So we'll see what happens. But I'm loving it, man. I'm definitely having a blast with that and excited to see what else they continue to do with that game. If they get it right, I think it could be up there. Like, it was cool to see, just for example, Rainbow Six having their I don't know exactly what it was, if it was like their
championship, I think
their major, I guess. Yeah, like Ubisoft's actual major for Rainbow Six, which was really cool. It was fun to watch that. And that had pretty good viewership. It was like over 100,000. Like, I don't know if it got over 2, but it was really pretty impressive for Rainbow Six. And, you know, I would love to see like this game kind of slow. They already did one tournament, but like I think this game has that kind of potential because it's really fun to watch, easy to understand. Rainbow Six a little bit more complicated, but even so, they have a lot of people that play that game. So hopefully it'll fall in that kind of sphere as it continues to develop. Yeah. So anyway, I think that's all for what we've been playing this week. Oh, Katie! I totally forgot about you.
Unbelievable. No,
I'm so sorry, Katie. It's because I never do you last, and then I did.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
All right. Well, got the next 40 minutes on lock. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. And so, in second thought, let's just move to news.
All right, get into the news here now. I didn't play anything, too crazy this week. Tried to play some Battalion, but got kicked out.
Yeah, you tried to. That was the thing, is we were trying to queue up together and we couldn't do any of the 5-man queue stuff really.
Right. Yeah, it was a struggle. It was getting insanely tilted as well, which I mean it's inevitable, but And played a bit more Evil Within 2 because they updated it to add a first person only option. But it actually plays like garbage.
I was just going to say, really? For Evil Within? That does not sound fun.
Yeah, it was very bad. There's a section in the base game where you have to play through in first person, and it controls terribly. And I don't know what they were thinking. But, I mean, it's there if you want it. It's not for me. But played some more Shadow of the Colossus. I actually finished that twice, and I tried going for the Platinum Trophy. But got a little frustrated, not gonna lie. For as much as I love the game, it's got quite a few flaws. Like a lot of your experience in the game can be kind of a dice roll, depending on, in some parts, how well the Colossus AI decides to behave. Or there are some Colossus where you'll just be sitting there begging, because a lot of fights are down to reacting to what the Colossus does, and if they're sitting there not doing anything at all, it can be pretty frustrating. And a lot of times the controls, it's meant to be not extremely tight because you're trying to climb on and hold on to this Colossus for your dear life. So it's meant to not be perfect, but sometimes it can feel like you're playing fucking Octodad or something. Like it can be pretty frustrating. Yeah. But I mean, despite everything, I'm really enjoying the game. I still think it's a brilliant game, but I'm not sure about that Platinum Trophy, because there are some of the trophies require you to do secrets in the game, which you literally can't do until like the 4th playthrough through. But I mean, I won't spoil anything, but yeah, still phenomenal game. I think despite everything, its pros outweigh the negatives, so I think definitely pick that up. It's essential. And I picked up something on the Steam sale, which has been consuming a lot of my time, just completely on a whim. I just saw the rating on Steam. I picked up Slay the Spire, which it's a roguelike card game, and it's very, very fun. It's definitely got that one more run factor to it. It can be addicting. It definitely takes me back to old school Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh! But one of the places I always struggled was like building a deck and getting something that works. This is great because when you start a run, you have just basic attack and block cards. And then, excuse me, like as you go through the game, you add different abilities and like new cards to your deck. And so you kind of build your deck as you play and develop a pretty unique style for what you want to go for. And it's in early access right now, so they're planning on adding a lot more to it. And I think, what is it now? Like on sale for $11? It's a steal. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it's cool. I've seen people streaming that, and it looks really neat for a card game.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty fun. But that's all I played.
Gotcha. Neat.
Cool.
All right. Well, let's get into some news here. And it was funny that what you're talking about Shadow of Colossus and talking about shitty controls. Well, you want to talk about shitty controls. Did you guys ever play a little game called Dead Island? Anybody here ever try to play that piece of shit that people really tried to make excuses for? Holy fuck. Yeah. I'm sorry. But Dead Island was not a good game or RPG by any means. But it has like kind of like a cult following. I feel like some people make excuses for that game and like are like, oh, it was pretty solid. Like, no.
One of the greatest trailers ever.
Great trailer. I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
Incredible trailer. And that was the best thing about the entire
Yeah,
franchise.
that trailer sold
That was
a bunch of copies.
so many. Yeah, that's a great point. And the game was nothing like the trailer, I'll tell you that much. And I'm just bringing that up because, all that to say, THQ Nordic has purchased Saints Row and Dead Island owner Koch Media for 121 million euro. So
Like
those Saints Row, obviously a pretty big franchise. Dead Island, not so much. Remember when Dead Island tried to make a fucking MOBA? Like they were like, hey guys, we're gonna make a MOBA, because I guess the MOBA craze was crazy. But anyway, so yeah, apparently to the tune of 121 million euro, they think that these titles. What else is in there? Saints Row, Dead Island. I feel like there was a few other things in this article that they said they pick up.
Like a new,
they also, a
new
Homefront.
Saints Row, Homefront. I mean, Homefront is.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. Fucking Homefront. Yeah, that was a disaster.
I don't know if that's something they're gonna continue building out as a franchise.
I'll tell you what they can do. They can take the Homefront Battle Royale. Has a nice ring to it. Make a Battle Royale game.
Dead Island Battle Royale.
Oh, exactly. That's true. They already made a MOBA. Why not make a BR game?
Actually, honestly, Saints Row Battle Royale probably makes the most sense out of any of those.
That would actually probably be sick.
That could work.
Now, I mean, considering we have a cartoony Battle Royale like Fortnite, I mean, Saints Row could do something like that.
Yeah, Saints Row is kind of wacky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I'm just kind of surprised. Maybe I'm missing something here, but that seems like a lot of money for a studio, like for a set of studios that doesn't have I don't know. It doesn't, aside from Saints Row, I feel like doesn't really have any guaranteed blockbusters.
Right.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, Saints Row. Yeah, like I agree. That one's probably the best out of the bunch here. But it also picks up Deep Silver's exclusive rights to the Metro games, which I don't know though.
Ooh,
it's not a guarantee, but I mean Metro games are pretty well loved. So I don't know. I'm seeing mixed things. Like in the comments, people are like, "This seems like a deal," and I'm like, I don't know. I think it seems a little expensive. I'm kind of with you, Brandon. Overall, it seems like a lot.
I guess I don't have a good sense for what those games potentially make. I mean, maybe Saints Row alone is worth most of that purchase price or something. I don't know. It's just surprising to me. That seems like a lot for a company that doesn't have really. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh, but aside from Saints Row, like I don't see any slam dunks there.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to keep our eye on it. I mean, so they also talk about in the article Dead Island 2 was supposed to. I mean, it was supposedly being worked on, and we hadn't heard anything for a really long time on that. And apparently, that still seems to be in the works. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll come out with an even better trailer than the first one for Dead Island 2 and sell tons of copies, and then the game will be nothing like we imagined. Who knows?
Didn't they announce Dead Island 2 in like 2012, and it still hasn't come out? Let me see.
Yeah, I don't. It's been a while.
The game is prime development hell.
There's an interesting quote here that's sort of a backhanded compliment from that I guess is like a statement from THQ Nordic. They said, following less successful launches in recent years with substantial write-offs in the business areas, primarily Agents of Mayhem and Homefront, Koch Media has made significant organizational changes in its management, internal steering and control, technology, as well as its selection process for development of IPs.
Damn.
Wow. So I guess THQ Nordic seems to think they got a deal because they're indicating that those guys weren't doing very well, but they seem to be doing a little better now.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Following less successful launches in recent years with substantial write-offs. Damn, that's what you kick off the statement with.
Yeah, that's not exactly leading with roses there.
No, absolutely. Well, we'll see. I mean, I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, I guess in the grand scheme of things, because I know Saints Row, I don't know what kind of sales Saints Row has done overall for the franchise, but I know it's a pretty, like you said, that's the biggest franchise that is listed here.
It's got to
I'm
be
sure they've
a
made
lot.
quite like I'm thinking at least in the history of the game, at least a couple hundred million.
Yeah,
maybe I'm overestimating.
I would think so. No, I would think so
in the
because
grand scheme.
I mean, because those, especially because those games have gone on sale and stuff, later in their life. I mean, there are so many people that own a copy of Saints Row that maybe they picked up for a really low price, but I know those games are super popular, and and they've generally always been received well. So I have a feeling that that's what makes the most sense to me. That like maybe a game like that, if you think you can keep going with that franchise. And like you said, the Metro games too could be a part of it. I just don't see how you really pay a whole lot of money for IPs like Dead Island and Homefront.
Yeah, agreed. That would be, if those were the only two and they paid 121, we would be easily say like, okay, well, that was a ripoff.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
All right, we'll have to keep an eye on that. Moving on. Does anyone have a segue real quick? I'm just gonna let it before I do anything here. I don't know if you had anything good. Couldn't come up with anything. I'm thinking, but
there's
a good 20 minutes.
I would say Koch Media, not the only one that's going to be experiencing write-offs.
Ooh, solid. What? Yeah, go ahead. Take it.
Incel Games. That's INSEL.
Oh wow.
Incel Games published a game called Wild Buster Heroes of Titan. Which
Wild Buster.
These
summer.
I don't know that this is a game that people are actually out there playing. I'm not super familiar with it, but it apparently launched, I think, in in December or somewhere thereabouts, and the CEO of Incel Games was not happy that they weren't lighting the world on fire. So he apparently sent out an email, basically asking all of the employees to buy the game and rate it, and he said they would reimburse them for buying the game. So Valve, I think stuff like that generally frowned upon. Valve, and so Incel Games, this got posted to Reddit, as all things do. This ended up on Reddit, and Incel Games, I guess, confirmed that the email was legit. You can go read the email if you care, but it's basically there's no question about what it is. Like he's asking all his employees to buy the game and rate and review it because they don't have many reviews on Steam. They only had 6 reviews, and so anyway, I guess someone at Valve saw this and they have pulled the game down. They have pulled the publisher's games down from Steam, which I think is I didn't think this was that interesting on its face. Like, whatever. Yeah. I don't think anyone is well, maybe some people love this game, but like in the grand scheme of things, I don't think people are going to really recognize that this one game is gone. This isn't like a massive publisher, but that's actually kind of why I thought this was interesting, because you have to imagine stuff like this happens all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe not in so many words, maybe not in an email to your entire company, but I have to imagine there are a lot of games where it's kind of understood that hey, go rate the game. We can start it out with a few positive reviews, so I was just thinking, like, if this was like Call of Duty or something, and someone had evidence that someone on the Call of Duty team was like saying, hey, we'll reimburse your copies of Call of Duty if you go and rate the game. Like, do you think Valve would pull down? No. Yeah, do you think Valve will pull down Call of Duty? And I don't think they would.
No, they wouldn't.
I don't think they would. So I just thought this was kind of interesting, because you rarely see parts of Valve's policy around Steam have to be enforced in this way, right? If this hadn't gotten posted to Reddit with a screenshot and everything that was basically a smoking gun, they wouldn't have ever done anything about it. But it sort of raises the question that, like, all right, this is really dumb, but to pull the game down completely, you know, let's assuming they employ more people than just the CEO here. You know, you're basically signing a death sentence for the company.
Killing the studio anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just, I thought it was like an interesting thing to think about. What if that happened to a larger studio? I would be interested to think if Valve would actually follow through on keeping their policy.
Right.
What do you guys think?
Yeah. It definitely is interesting, and I totally agree. I don't think if, you know, there's so many titles on Steam, and you know, we know how Valve works. I don't think if there had been a smoking gun like this or whatever else, you know, they probably wouldn't have made any movement on this. But when you have this, it blows up on Reddit, which is the #1 place in the world if you want any kind of action to happen. Is you go to where all the activists are, and they're on Reddit. So again, solid work by Reddit to get this justice for all these people who now don't have jobs because the game is removed from Steam. You know what's really funny is I'm reading some of these things, some of these comments on Reddit, and they're like, wow, it's so disgusting that the CEO would threaten jobs. And then by this getting publicity, Steam has removed all of the publishers' games from, you know what I mean? It's like you said, Brandon, it's kind of like inadvertently killing the studio anyway, which is classic Reddit, which, again, I mean, I'm not saying...
This email would have had to have come from someone on the inside.
Absolutely.
So someone on the inside
really
killed the studio.
But again, even reading the email, I'm not, just to play devil's advocate, he at no point threatens anybody's jobs. I'm going to read this point real quick because I think this is important. I mean, he says, where's the original email? He said, frankly, this leaves me pretty disappointed in response to you just having many reviews or people buying the game. Of course, I cannot force you to write a review, let alone tell you what to write, but I should not have to. Neglecting the importance of reviews will ultimately cost jobs. If WB fails, Incel fails, IME fails, and then we will all have no job next year. Now, of course, we'll read between the lines, you know. And then he says this, and then he says, the second part is the more damning part. He says, so I'm asking you to either do the following: buy the game and present me with the receipt until Friday night, for which, together with a claim form, you will be reimbursed within the 24-hour period, or explain to me tomorrow why you do not wish to do this. I would like to discuss this individually and privately with each of you and follow up. So, okay, again, sure. Like, you can go, you know, you're not an idiot. This is pretty, if your CEO is telling you to do something, like if he puts, but I should not have to, like, I totally understand. But he's not wrong. Though I don't know if making the argument like, yeah, if we don't leave reviews, this is if our own employees don't leave reviews, it's going to kill our game. It's like, if the only people leaving reviews are your employees, then your game's probably going to die anyway.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly. That's really not going to be saving grace.
That logic is not sound. But yeah, apparently though, at the end of the article, it said they are in talks with Valve trying to get it restored, and that they're going to go. But like, so it's apparently the game's in the Humble Bundle and stuff like that. So. Right now, it's unsure if like the Steam keys in the Humble Bundle, if you got it, will work even. So anyway, yeah, it's definitely a mess. So like you said, I mean, ultimately the guy who shared the email because he was pissed about what the CEO said may have killed the studio. But hey, man, you know what? Sometimes that's the price to pay for, you know, maybe sending a email that you didn't like from your boss. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I have to wonder. I wonder, like, the larger implications of this. I feel like are that, you know, I could definitely understand, obviously, like, maybe take down the reviews or something. I think removing the publisher's games from Steam, maybe they did that because of who sent the email. Like, maybe it was because it was from the CEO, like they felt it warranted that. But I mean, you would never take down a publisher's entire like catalog from Steam if like a manager on a game at a studio sent out an email like this, right? Yeah, that would make no sense. So I'm just, it's like, I don't understand. I don't know that I understand the punishment here, even though I sort of like, part of me wants to agree with what they did, because like you shouldn't ever put your employees in this position. But also, like, one person should not be able to tank an entire studio because of saying something like this. I don't know. I'm just a little bit conflicted.
I'm with you. I'm conflicted too. I don't know. It does seem like it might be a little bit too strong of a response to just be like, we're gonna like that. It seems a little more scorched earth than being like, okay, we're going to reset the review score.
Yeah, exactly. Because if these like, employees' reviews are going to actually change anything, like resetting the reviews or doing something punitive there probably
Right.
has more or less the same result anyway, right? Because it means that like there's no discoverability. There's like, you know, that would be a pretty big blow. Delisting it from Steam is an actual death sentence, you know? Like where else are they going to go? So I sort of feel for the studio there, because obviously the only reason he would have sent this email in the first place, I mean, you can read what he says, is like they don't have a review score, you know? They don't have enough reviews to even have a score. So he's basically trying to juice that little bit. And they have enough employees that the few reviews they might have left would help them get a little more visibility.
Right.
I think there's like part of that I can sort of empathize with. That's got to be really frustrating as a small game studio, you know?
Yeah, it definitely sheds a lot of light into, you know, the plight of the indie game studio in 2018. Because you look at Steam, I mean, despite all the shit on there are so many small teams trying so hard to get their games out there. And I do think that this is like a case of like maybe Valve trying to set an example for like other indie studios, because I have zero doubt that they're not going to do this for like, well, I mean, I would never see them doing this for like, what if Activision sent out emails? They can't afford to have Call of Duty taken off the Steam. That's just so I do see it as a little bit of like, you know, go ahead.
The only thing I can think of that would warrant this kind of response from Valve is if in their investigation they found something that is far more severe than just what that email implies. Because their actual Steam review manipulation statement that's on the Steam community says the publisher appears to have used multiple Steam accounts. They identified unacceptable behavior involving multiple Steam accounts controlled by the publisher. I don't know that controlled by the publisher is the same thing as, you know, this is our employees' Steam accounts. So the only thing I can think of is, unless Incel Games actually had like multiple Steam accounts that legitimately belonged to like a single individual, and they were leaving reviews, so it wasn't necessarily the whole idea of them threatening their employees, so to speak, but maybe in that investigation they actually found that a lot of the reviews left did come from a single owner, and that was like traced back to the publisher. So like, I'm wondering if the reaction came not from the email sparked the investigation, but in that they found something else that was a little bit more incriminating that hasn't been released to the public.
Could be
because they don't say that we're removing them because of the email or anything like that directly references that. All they say is that the investigation started because of the Reddit post. And then after that, they just say there was an investigation. They identified multiple accounts controlled by the publisher of the game.
Yeah, but it also says that they use multiple Steam accounts to post positive reviews, and that's why they're ending the business relationship. Like they draw that line pretty clearly, which I still think is kind of suspect, because as we can see from the email, you know, the employees of the company probably were worried about their jobs if they didn't post a positive review. So it sort of does stem from the email. I don't know. It's just I don't think that Valve would have done this if it was a large studio, and so because it's a small studio, it's like whatever. I mean, they can do whatever they want, and ultimately, it's not going to change things. But I'm curious if this were to happen to a middle to larger studio, if Valve would post this same exact message word for word, the same the same announcement they posted about ending their business relationship. I'm hard pressed to think that they would have made that same statement if you replaced Incel Games Ltd with, you know, Activision Blizzard or EA or, you know, some other household name.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Like again, I think it's a good question to say, like, or to speculate, like, what would happen if it wasn't just an indie dev kind of studio like this. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on this and see if this is something that Valve, like, if there's more demonstrable proof. I mean, there was a lot of the comments on this article are like, you know, a lot of people suspect, and like you said, Brendan, this happens on Steam all the time. Like, you'll see reviews that are like one word or like 5, you know, and you're like, okay, I don't know, seems suspect. But most of those companies that are probably doing that aren't putting it in writing to their employees, or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's not a paper trail.
Smarter than to email the entire company.
Yeah, that's just a dumbass move. Regardless,
yeah, really.
Not very.
Don't leave receipts.
You know, speaking of dumbass moves, I don't know how many of you guys played the game Mafia 3, which was very highly anticipated after Mafia 1 and Mafia 2. Mafia 2 is a fantastic game, definitely really, really enjoyable. And Mafia 3 was going to take a different direction, take place during the 60s, and be a kind of an open world game. And, you know, being as such, I was excited for it, and I played it for, I don't know, probably like 10 hours in total. And in a game like that, where you're kind of mimicking the whole GTA model, etc., you'd think you'd be able to change your clothes or get cosmetics or something like that in a game like that. And guess what? Mafia 3, there was no options to go shopping for you know, a different suit or a different top or anything like that. And the game was extremely, extremely repetitive, sadly. And it definitely felt a little bit rushed. I enjoyed the time that I had with it, but I never finished it ultimately because it was one of the most repetitive kind of games that I played in a long time. And so it's not too surprising, as unfortunate as it is, but there has been some big layoffs to develop to Hangar 13, which is the developer that developed Mafia 3. I don't think the game sold near as well as they had hoped it was going to. And while the game wasn't terrible, it definitely disappointed. For me, it's like probably a 6.5. I think a lot of people, we were talking about this in the pre-show, I think a lot of people refunded this game. I remember a lot of people being like, they like got it, and then it was like, and it didn't run particularly well. It had some graphics issues and stuff on PC. It was definitely not a hit. So they're basically 2K, which is the publisher, so they confirm there have been staff reductions at Hangar 13 in order to ensure that the studio's resources are properly aligned with its long-term development plans. Anyway, that's various PR speak right there.
That is some crafty PR speak.
Very crafty. Of course, these reductions will not influence 2K's ability to create and deliver its products that are currently in development. We never take these matters lightly and are working with the affected employees to support them and explore potential opportunities throughout our organization, aka move them to creating VC sucking opportunities in the garbage tier title NBA 2K18. Ronnie K will be taking these affected employees and putting them in his sweatshop in his basement, and to like brainstorm more ideas for how to take money from his already $60 paying customers. But no. So yeah, so that's unfortunate. But again, like I said, not too surprising. So I say that it didn't sell as many as they wanted, and you were talking about this, Yang, in the pre-show, so we got to talk about this. So Mafia 3 launched in October 2016. It was a commercial success for publisher 2K. It shipped over 5 million copies, which is, I mean, that's pretty impressive. 5 million copies of a game like that. But then you were saying in a different place, they had said that they lost, as a result of this game, like $100 million. So I don't.
It's not that they lost $100 million. It was in their financial statement for the quarter that for the appropriate quarter. They both cited this game as one of 2K's fastest selling releases.
Right.
I forget exactly what the revenue was, but they also said they later in that same statement cited it as the reason that quarter was down $100 million in revenue from what from what they were expecting.
Wow.
Right. So how do you square those?
It's kind of an interesting statement to make, to say, no, it was a great success. We did a really great job. We're also less than $100 million from what we wanted to, and they basically cited Mafia as the reason for that.
Yeah. Definitely kind of mixed. So yeah, anyway, so hopefully those affected employees can find work somewhere else or get placed, but again, praying that it's not with Ronnie 2K, hopefully. Devil May Cry HD, folks, will be free for Twitch Prime members February 28th. That's pretty solid. Classic game, free if you have Twitch Prime. And then if you don't have Twitch Prime, you can, of course, go and make sure you have Amazon Prime, where you get your free sub, and you can come to twitch.tv/KBMOD. Man, I really wanted to put my own channel there, but you know what? Prime here. I had to think about it. But yeah, and also get a free game, and that's a pretty nice deal right there.
Twitch Prime, what a deal! Am I right?
What a deal!
What a service!
It is. It's a pretty solid deal, man.
Especially if you're a student. If you're a student, that free sub on Twitch alone pays for what for your Prime. Like that free sub.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. For students, isn't it half of what it normally is? It like $50 or something? I don't. Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's a huge discount.
Wow.
I promise we are not being paid to say any of this. I at first thought Brandon had put this in here, and it was KD who did. So there you go.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, you're not
there's no collusion here.
No, absolutely not.
I mean,
So
you're
anyway,
not
just,
being paid, you know.
I mean, technically, Twitch does pay me, but I'm not being paid to promote this.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, okay, I can get a little clouded. All right, FCC, get off my back. All right.
I don't think we need a hashtag ad here, but
No.
you know, maybe disclosure. We're broadcasting on Twitch right now.
Yeah. So this story is a little interesting. I don't know. Did you add this one, Katie, or was it you, Brandon?
This was me. Yeah.
All right. Talk about this, because I didn't realize this is a pretty. I mean, it's Polygon, so really inflated headlines are par for the course with them. But
right. Yeah. I mean, it's a dice roll with, you know, whatever you click on, anything on Polygon's website. But
basically saying the System Shock reboot, it raised 1.3 million on Kickstarter, is now on, in quotes, hiatus. And then the quote underneath is, "We took the wrong path."
Yeah.
That's pretty scary.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was a pretty promising project for a full from the ground up remake for the original System Shock from Night Dive Studios, which they actually have a free alpha demo on Steam right now you can download and play, which was pretty promising. And there was some little update changes here and there. Like, I remember a while ago they completely switched engine from Unity to, I think, Unreal 4. Which I don't know how much time that put on the project.
Pretty
I mean,
big deal, you'd think.
Yeah. So yeah, we haven't heard much about this title for a pretty long time, but they eventually came out and said that they're about to go on hiatus because I don't know. I mean, from what I've seen, it looked great. It looked like a System Shock in 2018. But I mean, I have faith in them that, you know, they'll switch it up for the better. But yeah, so pretty disappointing, you know, when something you're looking forward to gets put on hiatus. But you know, that's the way it is. Yeah, it said we took the wrong path. We turned our backs on the very people who made this possible. Like, what are you talking about, dude? The game was great. Like, yeah, you said the vision began to change. We moved from a remaster to a completely different game, and they strayed from the core concept. So yeah, I can kind of see that. But so yeah, I mean,
I guess part of it you could say is commendable. Like, if you know, because that's a pretty big deal to have 21,000 backers, 1.3 million raised, have all this hype, and then have some like actually take a real look at the project and be like, we fucked up.
Yeah,
like this is not what we were supposed to do. So I mean, maybe they readjust and maybe they make something good, hopefully. But
halfway through development, we went for some System Shock multiplayer, and yeah, we can't do that to our fans.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a tough position to be in when you get that much money via Kickstarter, because you have this expectation from your backers to put out a product. But I feel like this not that this is like a great outcome, but I do feel like it's very tough to release a statement like this and say, hey, we really don't feel confident in this thing that we ended up building, so we're gonna kind of take some time away from it and then, you know, try and get back on the path for the thing that you originally backed. That's a tough position to be in, because like people are going to be unhappy because they stopped, but people also probably would have been unhappy with the final product. So yeah, I mean, I guess slightly commendable to say pretty much straight up that they're not happy with what they built, and it does sound like they're still intending to make the game. So I mean, I think as long as they're committed to actually making something, you know, that people paid money for, ultimately, I think that's okay. People backing stuff on Kickstarter, I feel like should expect to wait an indeterminate amount of time, but they should eventually get the thing that they paid for.
Right. True. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Agreed. All right. Well, I don't really have any segue except to say that anytime CD Projekt Red opens their mouths about anything, there's, you know, articles all over PC Gamer. I think the best example was what was the tweet they did recently? Or
they literally tweeted the word beep.
Right. Yeah. And the internet lost its shit because, again, they haven't said too much about what is it, Cyberpunk, right? And we don't really know anything about that game, which is the game they're still working on. But it's basically become a meme on this podcast where we talk about like anytime, like basically non-news is news with CD Projekt Red, just because people love them so much. And to be fair, they make incredible games, obviously The Witcher, etc. So They were recently asked in, I'm not sure, was it by PC Gamer themselves, or was it a different?
I think it sounds like PC Gamer conducted an interview with
that's
with
what it was, the CEO,
the co-founder. So not the CEO. I think the co-founder,
okay.
Ivinsky. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Yeah, that'd be Ivinsky.
But basically, it sounds like they asked him about you know, the whole loot box situation, and you know, pretty much CD Projekt Red. This is like the thing they're known for. I feel like is being this you know, like the last savior of real games, you know, and paying $60 for a complete experience and not having any, you know, not having any greed. But that's basically it's just a lot of things to say that like CD Projekt Red still seems to believe,
right.
And I mean, rightfully so. I think it's a great viewpoint to have. But they basically, it sounds like they intend for games to be, you know, if you buy a full price game, this is a quote, if you buy a full price game, you should get a big polished piece of content. And, you know, it just sounds like they sort of think about things more in the old school way of like, you know, having expansions and, you know, when you're going to pay more money for things, having it be, you know, content that you feel like is well worth your money. So that's, I mean, it's really cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's not anything. Yeah,
it's like not earth-shattering stuff, I don't think, but it's kind of nice to see a reinforcement of that viewpoint, given that they do have, you know, this big looming game, Cyberpunk 2077, on the horizon. It seems obvious that their you know, their intent with Cyberpunk is to be a monetization model, you know, like The Witcher, you know, I guess, where you pay for it and you get what you pay for, and then when there's more content you might pay more. Like I get the sense that they're not going to follow the standard industry trends that you would expect them to with a big new IP, where like there's loot boxes or keys, you know, something for you to spend money on incrementally. Based on what they're saying here, that would be a really weird path for them to go down, because they would get skewered later on after giving answers like these. So, you know, CD Projekt Red is like always the good guy, you know, in terms of the way they build games. And so far, I mean, to be honest, so far they have cashed those checks. You know, The Witcher 3
put their money where their mouth is. They really do.
The Witcher 3 is like arguably maybe the best value of a game ever, you know, dollar for dollar.
Yeah, seriously.
Regardless whether you like it or not, just like the pure content there, maybe the best value in a video game ever. So, I mean, it's cool to see that. I imagine
he puts it pretty simply right at the end of the article to say there is no better PR than a happy gamer recommending your title to their friends. And I mean, I guess Incel Gaming also understood that. It's just that they couldn't get a genuine. They had to fake the happy gamer recommending to their friends. But I mean, it's true. Like the fact that they put in all that work just to get that tiny little piece. I mean, I can't even recall how many times, like just from people saying, "Man, I'm not really sure what to play," and the first thing that comes to mind is, "Have you ever played The Witcher?" You should play The Witcher. Like it just even when they're laying out how many hours of content, for them to say that. They broke it down in this article somewhere. They say 50 to 60 plus hours of main story with like a couple hundred hours of side activities. Like a $60 game, that's you don't hear about that many hours of content in any other game. Like that's insane.
Yeah, it's funny. Like,
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just Ying and I were talking about this in the pre-show too. Like you were saying, like we're both saying, Brandon, it's not anything revolutionary, but actually it is in today's environment. Actually, just doing the right thing. Like it's funny, we joke about them just being the good guys. Like, and that they're not like, even in the article, the tone is not like, wow, we're just like above everybody else. But the sad truth of it is we have slidden so far, game industry wise, into the just absolutely milking people like they're goddamn milk cows for every dollar for, you know, mediocre or basically non-content or not even to play a finished product, that just by virtue of not being fucking scummy, you are elevated to God status. I mean, right? Yeah. Am I wrong? I mean, again, they make exceptional games too, so it's not like The Witcher, you know, all that stuff. So they also have the game pedigree and developer pedigree to back it up. But they're not doing anything. They're taking an old school approach to be like, you should have a fucking complete experience for what you pay for $60. And if you want, and if we make more content, you can buy more content down the road. Like, it's not revolutionary, but it is revolutionary anymore in 2018. I mean, in 2017 and 2016. I would say for the last, I don't know, how long have we been dealing with new normal? I don't even know anymore. A while,
probably,
maybe.
Yeah, probably like a couple years, few years, where it's really like taken hold in a real way. I think obviously, I think I agree with some aspects of what he's writing there, that like it's a good long-term viewpoint to have, that you basically want customers who are confident in everything your studio makes and everything it stands for. And I think there's definitely some positive PR there that's really valuable to build up over time. I mean, I think honestly that's probably the only reason Cyberpunk is even as hyped as it is, you know, because of CD Projekt Red's reputation over time for this sort of thing. If I were to play devil's advocate, though, like CD Projekt Red is in this funny spot where they're out of Poland. The cost of living in Poland is very low. So selling a game like The Witcher 3 and having a war chest built up from a game like that gives them the freedom to have these viewpoints where other games that, you know, may be built in labor markets like the US that are a lot more expensive, you know, they just have a lot of freedom that I think other companies don't necessarily have. And that is not to pass the buck for companies that, you know, are taking advantage of loot boxes and everything and trying to nickel and dime players of their game. But also, I think that CD Projekt Red is in kind of a unique position given where they're based and given that they have had several hits. Where they don't have to worry about the next game being super successful because they will be able to ride it out.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So, in addition, just in while we're talking about loot boxes, we do have to touch on, we've talked about this in the past, but is this the U.S. Senator from Hawaii? Is this the same guy that was dealing with the loot box stuff before? I think it is.
I believe so.
I don't think so. This is
this is different.
Is this not a woman? I thought it was
yes, this is a woman. You're right. It is a woman. Senator Hassan, it looks like.
Yes.
But basically, essentially, the U.S. Senator Hassan has called on the ESRB to take action on loot boxes, and basically suggesting that the FTC could get involved, which is never fun. You don't want the FTC getting involved in your industry if you can avoid it, or not when they're not wanted, which is always actually fuck it, the Federal Trade Commission. I mean, who wants them anyway? But basically, her whole shtick here, I think, if we boil everything down, and I think it's a fair take, is that if your game includes loot boxes or a glorified or dumbed down gambling system, that should be reflected in the ESRB rating. And I don't really think that's. I mean, Brandon, you had talked about it a little bit earlier, but I don't think that's too unreasonable, actually.
No, I don't think it's unreasonable. But
we're talking about.
I don't think it's unreasonable, but I think that also isn't the current environment that we are in. I mean, we have plenty of loot box games that have loot boxes that are rated teen. Like, that's not necessarily, well, I don't know, because there's no real rules or process around this. But I don't think that the
what happened?
Oh, we're back. We're back.
Okay. Oh yeah, we're back.
There's no real.
I was saying there's no real process or rules around this, as far as I know, in the ESRB right now. But I would think if you're going to take the stance of we can just roll the sort of gambling aspects into the rating of the game, would you not then have to rate those games mature? I mean, like, that's
true.
There's only one rating that like gambling stuff feels like it would fall into, and those would be mature 17+ rated games.
You're probably right. Yeah.
So
that's true.
you know, like Overwatch is rated teen. Like, are we then saying? I guess I would need to see examples for like what they'd be calling out in terms of how to incorporate this into the ESRB rating, because I would think Overwatch would go from teen to mature or something. But I don't know that that's necessarily a great solution either, because every other aspect of Overwatch is definitely not mature, right? It's not like it's not in the same category as something like GTA. So
Yeah,
I feel like it is sort of a new type of problem. I don't know that just off the top of my head, I don't necessarily think rolling it into the standard ESRB rating is necessarily the right way to go. But I don't know. I think, you know, the gaming industry is going to have to come up with something if they don't want to be legislated. So
I mean, maybe the rating is not the way to go. Maybe it's just like a warning, like on a cigarette box that says this causes cancer. You know what I mean? Or like it's like, but not cancer, obviously. Well, it depends. If it's Overwatch, then yeah, you should put that on the box. But no, just kidding. You know, maybe just like a thing that says like this includes these loot crates which simulate gambling, and maybe leave the rating stuff out of it. I don't know, but agreed. I do think like maybe this is not the solution, but I don't think it's raw. I don't think like especially people looking into it and saying, wow, like this is really simulating gambling, and if younger people play it, you know, maybe their parents would want to know about that if they're paying attention.
Well, I feel like they're already like the ESRB has sort of skirted certain things. Because like you'll note that when a game has online functionality, like a multiplayer functionality, the game will say like online actions not rated by the ESRB. You know, so because like they can't control if someone's on voice chat and like, you know, spouting adult stuff or whatever. But that is sort of outside of the control of the game itself, and makes sense. But this stuff is talking specifically about game elements that are in control of the developer.
True.
So I think, I don't know if maybe it's like a line item in a rating or if there's a new way to handle it. But I'm not sure what the right solution is, basically. I think because there are so many different ways that loot boxes can be implemented, like what do you put? Does there have to be a line that says loot boxes, and then like eventually every game just has that line?
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is here.
Right. Yeah. Bayer pointing out in chat, Chuck E. Cheese should be 18 plus. That fucking claw machine. I mean, yeah, true.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You really throw a lot of money away.
You're not wrong.
Fair. That's fair. I guess you could make that argument.
I mean, carnivals, like carnival games.
True.
You know, when you have to like
Basically
throw, like you get a massive stuffed toy if you can throw 3 of these balls in the bucket without them coming out.
And it's rigged against
Boy,
you anyway.
That's a loot box if I've ever seen one.
That's a good point. That's a great point.
Maybe the reality is that our entire world involves has always involved gambling as a child, and we just didn't actually realize it because the world wasn't entirely digital the way it is now.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, really, you gamble every second of every day. Every decision you make, could result in horrific death. It doesn't usually, but who knows? You know what I mean? So really, aren't you just gambling 24/7? So you know what? Actually, on second thought, fuck this, dude. I'm totally against adding any kind of thing. We should just get rid of ratings altogether.
Children need to be taught early that life is a gamble. Life
is a gamble, man. Anyway, but yeah, I also heard people in chat talking about the fact that like the ESRB ratings anyway. Like, I think maybe parents paid attention and maybe really diligent parents earlier on about that, but I feel like anymore, especially with Steam, considering you can just put in, you know, people just use their parents' credit card and you know what I mean, and put whatever if they want to look at this. Not, you know, like Katie Zen, if he was younger and wanted to look at all those anime dating simulators, would just change the age to whatever he needed to be 18 or older.
Oh, absolutely.
So it is a lot different. Like, of course. So like, is the ESRB? I think they're probably even way more less relevant than they were 10 years ago. Like it's you know. So
I'm wondering,
it probably doesn't matter
I didn't
anyway.
even think of it, like find out how much publishers and developers care about their ESRB rating. Like, right. Because I know it obviously, like movie production, that's a big thing. Like they care a lot about what rating their movie gets, so how accessible it is in a theater.
Yep.
But I can't imagine that it's to the same degree for developers and publishers. It'd be interesting to find out, you know, when they're considering what elements go into a game, how much are they thinking about the final rating the game's going to get? I don't think it'd be much, especially like as you're saying, with how easy it is to bypass that.
Yep. Definitely. Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on this. Again, this is another story that we've talked about quite a bit in the past. Loot boxes aren't going away, so we will keep a close eye. But Katie, it is time for the new releases.
All right, baby.
Release me right now. Take me away.
We're gonna release the games. We're gonna release the loads. Let's get into it.
Okay. Wow.
All right. So first up, a game that is certain to not release anyone's load is Metal Gear Survive.
Great segue.
Yeah, definitely
Great
not.
segue.
So if you're unfamiliar, somehow
Yes.
Metal Gear Survive is like an attempt to continue the Metal Gear series after its astounding, master Kojima has left the company. So what's the first thing they do? They make a zombie survival game in the Metal Gear setting. So basically, the story is Metal Gear Solid 5. Once in the opening cutscene at the end of Ground Zeroes, when Mother Base is nuked and destroyed. Well, no, not nuked, but destroyed. A magical wormhole opens up and drags in some of the crew members into an alternate world with zombie-like beings. So, yeah.
Nice.
There you go. It's going to be $39.99. There's an open beta up right now. I've downloaded, but I haven't played it. Hopefully it's still up so I can, I do want to play it, but I will never in my life give money to this, support this at all. I certainly won't support it, but it's disgusting. But I mean, even if it's a great game, it would have to be fucking Shadow of the Colossus level game to make me, purchase it. But we'll see. Buy a fucking used copy from GameStop. I'd rather give GameStop my money than Konami.
Wow, give GameStop some business. Yeah.
I do wonder that in the About This Game section, it says Metal Gear Survives, a spin-off from the main Metal Gear Solid 5 story that takes place in a strange alternative universe. Is that not just literally like the thing you write if you want to continue making games for a franchise that do not fit with the game's overall story arc?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Like, you basically just give yourself carte blanche. Oh, this is a strange alternative universe.
I mean, granted, I would much rather them do a strange alternate universe than if they came out with like Metal Gear 6 and they had they affected the story of the game. So at least, I mean, there's that. I don't know. But so yeah, if you're at all interested, February 21st comes out.
I'm not, but thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure someone out there, some sick bastard, is interested. No, I'm just kidding. Now, next up, speaking of games for sick bastards, is the this game is called. Now, I'll be honest, this game actually looks great.
This actually does not look that bad, and the pun title is pretty solid.
Yeah, this game is called Them's Fighting Herds.
Yeah,
it is the long-awaited pony fighting game that no one knew they wanted, but everyone.
Now that I'm looking at it, dude.
Yeah, you gotta watch the trailer. Screenshots don't do it justice. You can tell by looking at it. It looks like a solid fighting game on top of, it's kind of like a joke, I feel like they kind of, because you play it, like my friend and I were talking oh man, I'm getting rank 1 in a pony fighting game, man. I'm gonna learn it. And yeah, so it honestly looks pretty solid. Comes out February 22nd. And if you own they've actually partnered with, Skullgirls, BlazBlue, Guilty Gear, where you get different avatars if you own those games. So It's pretty cool. Yeah, I think that's a cool thing. There's a really good online lobby stuff inspired by Arc System Works online take on stuff. And it's gonna launch with I think 6 characters, which is not crazy, but they're very adamant on free DLC and the full main story being delivered for free in regularly released episodes after launch, featuring or focusing mostly on one character each, more unlockables, a lot of mini games. So I'm hyped for this, man. I'm excited. I'm huge on fighting games, and this is definitely something different. So I'm willing to give it a try. Yeah.
You stopped just short of saying I'm huge on ponies as well.
I was waiting.
I had to catch myself. Yeah, I had to.
You're like,
hey,
I'm
man,
really
you're
looking
my
forward to
little
this
pony.
game. Love fighting games. Yeah, so I'm gonna get this game.
When Katie's last search term on fucking whatever porn website he uses is My Little Pony. Katie.
Oh god!
Please don't search my history on hentaigasm.com. Just
sounds good.
So yeah, check that out. All right. Speaking of anime, the weebs have taken over with these next few games, people.
Oh boy.
Real quick. I know it's, some people out there interested, but so Sword Art Online has had, I think, 3 or 4 games, like big budget games now. And their next one, Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet, is coming out on February 23rd. Takes place in the arc that took place in the 3rd game, where everyone decided to continue playing this game that killed thousands of people. I don't know. Don't worry about it. Just play the game. Have fun. And so yeah, it's launching at 50 on PC. So definitely, if you're into that, continue that. Next up, this game is not on Steam yet. I don't know where it is to purchase it online, but according to Wikipedia,
what?
Yeah,
Okay, what?
No, this is great. So Little Witch. Okay, come on, you guys have me on tilt now. Little Witch Academia is a really, really good anime, and it's getting a game that's like a beat 'em up. And according to Wikipedia, it's coming out on the 20th, but I can't find a way to purchase this anywhere. Maybe it's some deep underground hentai game that I can only get from that guy. But I mean, there's
what the hell that is that you just said. So I'm sure it'll be.
It looks like it's on PS4. I don't know about PC though.
It is coming to PC. I mean, I don't think Wikipedia would lie to me, would they?
Oh, I mean, maybe it is, but it makes a little more sense now.
PlayStation 4, Microsoft Windows.
Oh, okay.
Is it on the Microsoft store?
Maybe it's a Windows Store exclusive. This
Yeah.
definitely seems like the kind of mainstream title that Microsoft would want to get exclusivity on in their store.
Hey, it's a popular anime. It's a great anime. I'm telling you, dude. Yeah, it's saying that it's coming to Steam. Huh. That's weird. But yeah, if you're into that, pick it up. But lastly, this game,
we don't know where. But you'll be able to pick it up.
If it even is, yeah. Like, what's happening?
Buy it somewhere, yeah. But yeah, finally this week is a game I'm super excited for. So I talked about this a few weeks ago, but Yume Nikki is this old-ass RPG Maker horror game that was completely unlike anything at the time it came out. And it recently got put on Steam after, 16 years ago? And so it's being re-released as a full 3D remake with a collaboration between Kadokawa, which is like the people who made RPG Maker games, which is what Yume Nikki was, with this own active gaming media, which is it's basically a fan game when you look at it, because it's a team of ardent Yume Nikki fans to bring you this modern indie title. It's like combining influences from the original game and other recent indie juggernauts to create something wholly unique. So they talk about how the game is being developed in close supervision with the original creators of the game, with like the utmost respect for the game. But you kind of can't shake that feeling that it's a fan game of Yume Nikki in 3D.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm confident that it'll be good.
This gives me the same creepy vibes that I get from Jeff Keighley whenever Kojima's on stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like reading this description, it's like is a collaborative show of the utmost respect for Otto Kikiyama's seminal release. Like you're talking about his seminal release right in your face, you fan makers. Like this is, I don't know. I mean, again, it could be fine, but it just kind of, like you said, it definitely reeks of a fan project of people who really love the original and just couldn't let it go, and they were like probably emailing this dude every night for the past like 5 years, like, dude, can we just make a game together? And he's like, all right, fine.
Right.
All right. What do you got?
Do it.
I don't
do
know.
it and pay me, baby. Come on. You gotta go. But I mean, from what I played, it's free on Steam to play the original if you want to. And from what I played, it's a really unique game, but it doesn't really hold up today. It really asks a lot from you, because a lot of the game, like there's a lot of really unique, interesting things in the game, but a lot of it amounts to aimless wandering and hoping that you come across, the good stuff that you're looking for with a game like this. So hopefully, what I'm really hoping for with this game is that it put a lot of the heavy hitting moments really kind of to the forefront without making it, baby mode. So
yeah, gotcha.
Hopes are high. So February 23rd, no price yet, but we'll see. So yeah, pretty solid week for the new releases, aside from, that one Metal Gear Survive game that we won't talk about anymore on previous episodes. Hopefully.
Gotcha.
All
right. Well, thank you for another banger of a new release section, Katie. You always bring it, and I appreciate it. So we should jump into viewer questions. So we've got 3 emails tonight, which is, I think that's historic. I don't know if I can remember the last time we've had 3 emails. We usually have 1 or 2, but 3.
Yeah.
This is next level. So let's get into the first one from Ikantu, who asked us a great question. But I will start out. He's got 3 paragraphs. Ever since I first got my hands on Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, I have been fascinated with the idea of large open worlds in games. For the longest time, I have conceptualized a game in the same vein as GTA that played out on a map that is a 1-to-1 scale of the city I live in. Nice. Now that AI technology is slowly creeping over the horizon, I can see a not too distant future where such a game could exist. Through the information compiled in something like Google Maps and its Street View, I don't think it's unreasonable to imagine that an AI could be employed to take this information and accurately model a 1-to-1 scale map of the entire planet. I agree with that. With this in mind, I'd like to know if you have any thoughts as to the implications that AI will have for the way games are developed and the things developers will be capable of as a result. Great question.
This really reminds me of a previous question we got when we talk about like a hypothetical algorithm of game making that just evolved itself.
And if I recall correctly, that discussion kind of ended with us acknowledging that there's the technical aspect of it, which of course I think actually Ikantu's question better phrases what we were discussing that first time, because we basically with our answers came down to an AI would be able to expand the technical side of things, but there's that creative element that an artificial intelligence or a computer would never be able to recreate that humans will always bring to the table. So I guess now the question here is, with that kind of, with like combining the technical capabilities of an AI technology combined with human creativity, what other things could they achieve aside from a 1-to-1 scale map of the entire planet?
Right. I think this makes me think of, so with AI and just the stuff that we can do now with technology and how much power we have computing wise and all that kind of stuff. I think this, when I think of the AI stuff, I more think of it as, because he's describing it as basically a tool. Like I'm reading this as like a tool for development to be able to say like, okay, like sure, obviously a 1-to-1 map or scale of the entire world created in a game would be incredible. But I'm thinking about like using that, like somebody writing something, like you said, that can use Google Street View or whatever else, and that just basically enhances the speed and development time and realism for games, not so much like AI coming up with, like you said, creative concepts, more like it being used as a tool for helping development be quicker, more accurate, that kind of stuff. That's kind of the angle that I see when I think about this question. So I think that could be really, really neat. I mean, I think it would be even just a game that was like walking around. I don't know. Like, again, it would have to depend on like obviously creating a 1-to-1 scale of the Earth that you could walk around in. I don't know if we'd be able to get anything that would be fun to really do in like VR or be detailed enough, but I don't know. There's a lot of cool ideas you could do with that. Do you guys have any other stuff? Yeah.
How about, I mean, this is weird for me to say because I have no experience with fighting games, but I guess it worked for a lot of like different genres, but any game where you are playing against an AI, so the first thing I thought of was a fighting game. And I would love to see with an AI technology how quickly they can get an AI to learn how you play to the point where it's impossible for you to beat them. And the game is based on like high scores of when you get like the first time you go into this game, how many times can you beat the AI before it just knows you through and through and you cannot possibly consistently beat this computer.
That's neat. That reminds me of the who was it? They did this for Dota. Who made the bot? There was like they did this documentary on I forget. Was it Elon Musk's company or one of his companies that made basically there was this bot made for Dota that they wanted to see if in one-on-one in 1v1s if the bot could get through AI learning get good enough to beat pros on a consistent basis. And yeah, there it is. Okay, no, but it was Elon Musk. And so the Dota AI has gotten so good and was doing things that pro players had never seen before that it's starting to create this like, and they all want access to the bot now, because basically the bot plays perfect. And so by playing the bot over and over again, they were learning things that they never thought about doing in the game because the bot is getting so good. And then they're basically training against the best, person or AI that they possibly could, and it has improved their game. And it even like changed the meta and stuff.
Wow.
Which is so kind of exactly what you're saying, Yang. Kind of right on point. And so like, and then there's like the discussion, like, for training purposes, like why would you not just get the bot and then train and grind against that to elevate the game? And I don't know, from what a lot of players said, they said it really like took the meta and the skill cap for Dota, which is already incredibly high, like to the next level.
I cannot imagine a more frustrating situation than logging into a game of Counter-Strike against 5 AI learning bots. Exactly. That sounds infuriating.
Nice. Now, see, that would be cool though, like in the sense of not because you would obviously never win, but like what about like the Elon Musk AI that they did for Dota? I want to see them play like a real player. Do you know what I mean? So like learn what players do, and then like can you imagine if you watched a bot have movement like, I don't know, like somebody like Stewie? You know what I mean? But it learned it intrinsically. Like that's a really cool idea. Like to be like, wow, he's literally like bunny hopping. He's taking crazy peaks that he learned from playing Stewie, and he's using it against you. I don't know. I just think it's a really cool.
I mean,
like that would
be the next step, because I mean, you're talking about the Dota bot and how it learned 1v1s.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
maybe the extension of this technology is now getting the AI to learn how to play with 4 other AI, and start working as like this impossible team. I mean, on top of the fact there's a bit of an inexact parallel there, because you would imagine that 5 AI would have absolutely flawless communication with each other at all times, which Counter-Strike, that's obviously one of the things is, team communication sometimes break down. But that might be kind of where that falls apart, because you have to imagine 5 computers are never going to fail to communicate with each other.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the thing we're talking about CS bots now. The problem with CS bots now is they cheat. They just track you through walls, and the one they're on expert just instantly headshot you. They're basically using aimbot.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
we'd have to be talking about a bot that very much obeys the laws of the game.
Exactly. So yeah, and so that's what I would be interested in, where they're beating you not because they would have to beat you
with the same information you have as a real
exactly.
Human
They're not tracking through walls. They're actually, again, of course, it would be AI response time, so they would definitely always beat you, but still like to adopt the styles of pro players or whatever else that they find works, like that would be fast. Like I'm the more I'm thinking about this, I'm like, I really want to email Elon. I'm sure he'll just get back to me, but just be like, can we get a bot like this for Counter-Strike to see what the bot does? Because it was like the way that they compiled the information was fascinating, and all the different stuff that the bot would do was like blowing people away. They're like, I don't even know what it's like. The bot in Dota learned to bait the players and stuff like that. Like it was crazy. And so I would love to see that over.
Like that's a big part of it too. I mean, like we're trying to talk about a bot, and we keep forgetting that like the point of this question is like a proper AI. So it's learning not just how the game works, but also learning how different players play and how to counteract that. So, God, I don't know. I really think the leap for this question would be, I don't know, man. Maybe Counter-Strike is not the right game for this, because now I'm imagining the computer or like the AI would also have, in the sense, like, so to speak, perfect hearing, right? So it would be able to know pretty much where you are. Even if, like, when I hear something, we have a general idea of where that's coming from. I imagine an AI would be able to pinpoint that to an exact degree.
Yeah. You'd have to literally hold shift on the entire map, probably, if you weren't making sound, because they probably know. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. That's a good question. Yeah, it's a good question. Anybody else have anything to add before we move on? Or
no, you nailed it.
I mostly agree with what you said at the beginning, Scott. That I think AI, and advanced computing power gives us a lot of opportunities for enhancing games and definitely like making them more realistic, or having like better physics or better textures. But I don't think we're at a place where AI is going to take over any part of the creative process. Like all of the things you guys were just talking about then are basically like training, right? It's training based on a given rule set that's already there. just like computers are not in a place where they can just think in a like blue sky type way. They're generally given a task or given a set of instructions. They can learn against that set of tasks.
Right.
But they're not going to come up with new ideas out of the blue. So but I do think everything you guys said is valid, that especially like once a game does exist, it's interesting all of the ways that like AI and machine learning can be applied to the game in order to further player understanding of the game, or like, definitely, and like you're talking about pro players practicing with that as like a learning aid to try and understand what are all the different strategies that might work and how do we incorporate that into our training. Like I think the sort of that might be the you think of like in sports, the Moneyball type stuff, like the different strategies that sports teams employ to try and win more. I could see that actually being a big thing for esports down the road, that like who has the better AI type programs to help them learn the game that other teams might not have. Like that might end up being the secret sauce that certain teams build up over time. And it's not anywhere close to that right now, but I could definitely see that 10, 20 years down the line, that's like the different sort of the different training regimens of teams might incorporate things like that. So interesting to think about.
Definitely. All right, good question from Makantu. Hitsu writes us in the next email. Hello, KBMOD squad. I have a question about buffets, but I will start this off with some context. A couple months ago, I went out to eat at a nice new little Asian buffet that served fresh sushi, which I will specify that it is far above buffet tier sushi, but of course not upper restaurant tier, along with multiple types of crab, seafood, and of course the general buffet course, various chicken dishes, rice, etc. I thought this was a pretty good buffet, offering many different dishes that are hard to get in the Midwest. Cost per person was roughly $15, and I also received a light-up keychain at the end of my meal. So yeah, this buffet was lit. Sounds pretty lit. $15. I go onto their Facebook page to show some support and write a review, but as I read some other reviews, I end up being very confused. Reviews were very mixed, either raving or awful, but what I want to focus on is the negative. The negative reviews all had some things in common. The food wasn't great. The food was just lukewarm or not hot enough. The food quality wasn't as good, and they would have rather gone to a restaurant. Now, I'm not a picky eater by any means, but I definitely know what's good and what's bad. The food wasn't some restaurant tier food. It was just a high-quality buffet. However, isn't the point of a buffet to be there to stuff our fat American faces with a large variety of food? These people made it out like they were expecting the most exquisite meal custom cooked for them. And when I wrongly tried to interact with these people, they bombarded me for daring suggest they lower their standards for a buffet. Anyways, here's my question. Do you expect high quality food when you go to a buffet? And should you be upset if the food isn't to the best of its potential? Or are buffets just meant for stuffing your face? Quality or quantity? Thank you. And he spelled quantity Quantitty. Nice job. Thank you, Hitsu.
Quantity.
Quantity. There.
Thank you. He's implicitly letting us know which side he's on.
Yes. Definitely.
God, this is kind of out of my league because I don't go to a lot of buffets.
Same. I've maybe been to like 3 buffets in my entire life. I know, looking at me, no one believes that.
They're becoming less common. Like there aren't a ton of buffets around. Maybe for this reason.
I mean, the most egregious, disgusting example I can think of that I have not been to, but I've heard many horror stories from people that have worked there, people that I know who have gone there. Golden Corral, which I've never been to, is one of the few kind of national chain buffets in the United States that still exists. And it is not good by any means. Again, I haven't gone myself, but by all accounts, it's gross. The only other buffet that I really have any experience with that wasn't like, I feel like Asian food buffets in general, again, they depending on where you go, you can find them more because they're not like chains. They're just mom and pop generally kind of setups. Now, I've talked about this before. Shady Maple Smorgasbord. It's the fattest sounding place in the world. It's in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It's run by Mennonites. Is one of the most insane buffets you will ever, if you ever get a chance to go to. It's literally like a tourist destination in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. called Shady Maple Smorgasbord. They have everything. And the food quality overall is really, really high, but it's not cheap. It's pretty expensive.
That's the thing I was gonna say. Like in Las Vegas, there are some buffets that are incredible. I mean, they're like very good food, but those buffets are like 40 to 60 bucks.
Right. Exactly. It's not $15 like this.
Like $15. I feel like it's basically just a question of value. Like for $15, give me like some mid-tier, some mid-tier stuff, because you're going for variety, and like if it's all you can eat for $15, you don't really have a whole lot of room to complain.
Yes,
but
that's what I was looking at.
Exactly.
But I mean, also I do understand. I guess I understand on one hand, like people wanting to. It's not a restaurant. Like if you go to a buffet, you're not going to get restaurant quality food. You're going to get a little bit of everything. And if you want restaurant quality food and you want one specific meal, you got to go to a restaurant. Like that's just how it works.
Yeah, that's kind of the one line in this question that bugs me, saying the food quality wasn't as good and they would have rather gone to a restaurant.
Yeah, it's like, guess what? That's why restaurants exist.
Yeah.
Right, go to a restaurant.
Man,
pay $15 and get
really didn't have very good Chinese food. I would have rather just gone to a Chinese restaurant. Yeah, go to a Chinese restaurant.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I totally agree, and I totally know what he's talking about with those kind of people. When you read reviews like that, where they're like, they're expecting for $15, like every dish to be cooked perfectly or heated. Like he just mentioned so many different things at that buffet. I mean, any buffet in general will serve so many different things for $15. I mean, if the food is serviceable, like he's saying, then absolutely, that's totally adequate. Probably more so than a lot of other buffets.
I will admit that sushi, probably not something I'm going to go after at a buffet.
Yes.
Like I'm willing to. I don't know if I'm willing to pay for sushi that I'm more confident is not going to get me sick. But for other types of food, I mean, like for American food, I'll definitely go to a buffet. If I can get like a macaroni and cheese and chicken fried steak and all sorts of different things. Woo! Especially like $15-20. Like that's I'm not so picky that I won't go to a buffet because I need restaurant quality food. Like I think a buffet is great if you're really hungry. Like awesome.
Agreed.
I guess the only way you could really deal with like the people that are leaving the negative reviews, I'd be interested to know what buffets they do recommend. Like, do they have an equally priced or like a relatively the same price buffet that does meet these food standards? Because if they do, then I'm very interested.
Yeah, I don't think that exists.
Right. Yeah, I don't think that. I agree. You're right. I don't think they have any answer. Like, what is their like?
Yeah, because in
what
that
are they
case,
comparing it to?
Saying with these reviews then is that they don't like buffets.
Yeah.
That's really what that might come down to. Unless they can offer like something that is around the same price that has better quality, what they're saying is that they don't like buffets.
Yeah, except for in Las Vegas, I actually don't know of another like high quality buffet, that might be pricey but has great food. Like that seems to be a uniquely Las Vegas thing that I haven't seen anywhere else.
Yep. All right. Well, good. Thank you for hitting us up, Hitsu. And man, stay strong out there. Go to that buffet, enjoy that $15.
I was going to say, be glad you're in the Midwest where you can get a buffet for $15. If that was in the Bay Area, your like mid-tier buffet would be like $35.
Oh yeah, no question. All right, Katie, how about you take this Love Muffin email? Take us out.
All right. So Love Muffin returns with another email. The title is A Very Special Episode. All right, so are we going to read our parts, or I can just read it?
You can just read. Yeah, I trust you.
Okay. Start us out. We'll see how it goes.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Hey, this week's episode is a little dark in a #MeToo kind of way.
Oh no.
Okay, that makes me excited to read it on a live Twitch audience. Just FYI. Also, someone should fill in APL on what's going on, but only after he has performed the raps and done the Bill Cosby impression, demarcated with a asterisk.
Oh, okay.
I have no clue what's going on.
Yeah,
I mean, something about Bill Cosby and doing some hashtag Me Too stuff to us. But yeah, I'm not gonna.
Pretty sure Bill Cosby was involved in a previous
yeah,
episode.
he was.
Yeah.
Episode, but okay.
Okay,
We'll just go with it. All right, go ahead, Katie.
All right. Appleman swallows hard as he begins his apology rap. All right, now this one is all you.
Okay. Minecraft story mode, even the title is good. Would replay it 99 times if I could.
Interrupting, the Telltale staff shouts in unison. More sincerely, as if you loved it as much as Logan Paul loves himself. Appleman closes his eyes and thinks of Counter-Strike 1.6.
This game is so great. Top 10 it should rate.
Ooh.
Dialogue is so snappy, it makes me feel happy.
Ooh. Hearing the latter line, Katie Zen gingerly feels for the cyanide capsule hidden in his tooth. Appleman continues.
The story is tight. The pacing feels right.
Suddenly he is cut off as from the shadows, Bill Cosby crushes the head of the lead Telltale developer. What the fuck?
Crushes the head of the lead Telltale developer.
I don't want to do the Bill Cosby voice. Oh, wait. Okay, so he has instructed you to do this in the Bill Cosby.
Oh, God. I can't do a Bill Cosby. Okay, hold on. Did someone say I can't?
You're so close. You're so close.
Got it.
Jello pudding pot. Did someone say pattern sweaters?
No! Screams the devs in fear and surprise. You're supposed to help us. Seeing a chance to escape, Katie then shouts to Apple Guy, use the vape stone! APL casts it to the ground, summoning sick clouds that envelop the KBMOD squad. As they sprint for the door, they hear panicked voices behind them as an enraged Cosby screams.
Where's the offering promised me on the don't worry about it couch?
Wow. Wow. At the last second, Katie looks back to the horrible shrine and sees that Brad is gone. Perhaps never to join the cast of characters again. Does the KBMOD squad A argue about politics on Twitter? B defend their favorite meme that just got milkshake ducked on Twitter? That reference kind of flew over a little bit for me. Or C, go to Wawa's. Love muffin, XOXOXO.
Wow, those are some very different choices.
They're different.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with C.
I feel like arguing about politics on Twitter is just gonna be a circle that never ends. Defending a meme on Twitter is never gonna end. At least going to Wawa is going to a place.
Right, right.
I'm kind of with you on that.
No, we wouldn't. Milkshake ducked is when like a meme gets turned racist.
Oh,
so,
okay. Gotcha.
Okay.
Probably don't want to do that.
Yeah, I feel like go to Wawa's is like that's actually we're moving to a different place. The thing I'm worried about here with these other two options is we're basically just sitting as accomplices to murder. Bill Cosby,
right, exactly.
Bill Cosby has murdered someone.
Everyone pulls up their phones and opens up Twitter.
He killed this line is maybe one of the greatest lines in any email, just any love buff in history, I suppose.
Yeah.
Suddenly, he is cut off as from the shadows, Bill Cosby crushes the head of the lead Telltale developer. Did someone say pattern sweaters? It's just incredible. And then, where is the offering promised me on the don't worry about it couch? Wow.
Yeah, that was a little dark. He didn't lie.
Dark.
The story has some layers like an onion.
Definitely.
Peeling them back one at a time.
Yeah. Smells it hurts at first, but you know it.
Yes.
All right. Anyways,
Brad. So
I'm
Brad,
struggling.
Apparently, Brad is gone. Also,
Brad's dead, gone, and yeah, we don't know.
I mean, we assume I don't know if we know he's dead, but he's definitely gone.
What else is new? Oh, ooh. Sorry, that was a little dark.
All right. Well, Love Muffin, thank you for the continuation of the story. We're definitely going to choose to go to Wawa. That's
Yeah,
I
I feel like at the very least, we maybe need to get like some paper towels. Need probably some water. Like we have a lot of people that are almost certainly in shock. We have just probably an incredible amount of blood on the ground.
Mm-hmm. I'm just struggling to think how you can milkshake duck the meme of the dog being petted, like cropped over people's hands. How do you turn that racist?
Yeah, I don't know either, but
we'll play it safe.
I don't want to think about it. It's such a wholesome one.
Yeah.
You can't ruin it. Yeah. Yeah, I'll go to Wawa's. Never been to Wawa's actually. This will be a good opportunity for me.
Yeah, it's good.
Actually, I haven't been to one either, so yeah, there could be some adventure there.
Nice.
There we go.
All right. Well, there you go, boys. I think that's going to do it for episode 310. We don't have any reviews, iTunes podcast reviews this week, so shame on all of you. Get on there and leave a review. 5 stars is all we ask. Anything else in the body of it is perfectly fine. You can, of course, check out kbmod.com for additional content that does not include the podcast. Podcast, of course, on there, though, and posted on Tuesdays. Check out some articles and build guides, etc. Spoiler, I said this again last week, but probably not the best time to build a computer until the goddamn crypto miners go back to the fucking holes they came from, or more video cards hit the market. So, but anyway, you can check out some of the more recent ones that Brandon did over the past month.
You can look at the build guides and wish you could afford.
Wish you could afford it.
Yeah.
Wish you could afford a GTX 1060 right now.
There you go.
I saw an article that was like, you can grab a 1060 at retail price. Like, oh
yeah, I know.
Well,
I know. It's been gross seeing some of that. Like seeing people reselling 1070s at MSRP, like used 1070s. It's nasty.
Yeah, it's rough out there right now. But yeah, you can check out KBMOD on Twitter at KBMOD Gaming. I am at APL Fisher. Katie Zen is at Katie Zen _. Yingity Yang is at Yingity Yang. Brand is at Volition, VOL11111. And
or if you're on Fortnite, I'm VOL2 TION. Because I can't get into my original Epic Games account.
Wow.
Unfortunate.
Times are changing.
Too. That's incredible.
that's hilarious.
What do I call you? Voltution?
I know. I don't know the right way to say it out loud.
Yeah,
you'll have to help me.
Volt. Yeah.
It could be Volt Wotion. Ooh.
All right, we'll have to workshop that one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna switch my Twitter handle real quick. I'll be at Volt Wotion.
But yeah, thanks to guys so much for listening as always, and we will see you next week. Appreciate everybody coming out. See you guys later.
Oh, bye bye.